is starting to stream in right now to go ahead and get a pen and some paper if you want to do a little exercise with us today, because we're going to be looking at our passions. So let's just take a moment and let people. So we're going to be looking at our passions and making room for passion today. Now, I talk about this a lot in my Worthiness Quotient course, my digital program, but today we're going to look at it from a different perspective. So I'm real excited about this, because what I know is for you to own your worth, you have to say yes to your passions. You have to make room for your passions. That changes your energy completely when you say yes to your passions and start following them. And for me, what happened is when I started following my passions, I really opened up to my purpose. So I'm excited to share this with you today. We'll let a few people start streaming in on the Zoom call. Again, for anyone who's watching, if you're wondering, well, how do you get in the Zoom call? Because what we do in the Zoom portion is I will be taking questions. We're live streaming right now on Instagram. We're live streaming on Facebook, on my personal page on Facebook, on LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you want to be a part of the Zoom call where you're going to see I take questions and we do laser coaching, then I want to invite you to get my Worthiness Quotient Breakthrough Bundle. It's totally free. You get my Women Leaders of Love ebook and some guided meditations to help you really start stepping into your purpose and owning your worth so that you become that leader for others to watch you and learn. So today, I'm so excited about this. We're talking about making room for your passions. Now, I want to share a little story with you because this was huge in my life. When I started studying energy and began becoming a healer back in the 90s, I had a little, what I call a counseling business, a spiritual counseling business, where people would come in and I would look at their energy and see their blocks and help move them out, which is what I still do, but it was really focusing on helping, just doing it for them rather than coaching them to learn how to do it for themselves. So I was doing this and I had subletted a building from this woman. She was a massage therapist. So I would go in several days a week and use her space to have my business. Well, I went to hear Cheryl Richardson. I don't know if anybody knows Cheryl Richardson or follows her work, but back then, I want to say this was probably in the late 1990s. She had a book that came out that said, "Make Time for Your Life." Good title, huh? So she does this, and I hear her speak. I'm at a spiritual conference in San Francisco. So at this conference, she had us write down some of the things that we were passionate about, and then she says you have to make room for them. Well, okay, what? It's one thing to hear it, right? But it's another thing to do it. Well, I came home after the conference, and I mean, oh my gosh, this conference was amazing. My girlfriend Renee and I had all these wild spiritual experiences. I mean, it was just really, really crazy. But I came home and immediately got into life, not making time for myself. I was doing my work with my counseling business and taking care of my kids. I had little kids at the time. And so I'm doing this whole thing and I have a dream one night. So I wake up and I'm deciphering this dream. And the dream was I'm in a community center. There is a podium, and at the podium is a man who is calling out people's names to take these trips. So my name gets called, and he says, "You're going to San Francisco with Soul." So in my dream, I'm thinking somebody named Soul, almost like Saul, but it was Soul. So as I'm deciphering this dream, I realize that I am being called to go back to San Francisco, which was the spiritual experience I had in San Francisco, just all these awakenings. And I'm supposed to be going with my soul, right? But then as I'm seeing this, I'm so excited about it. I turn around in my dream and I see my mother. Now, usually when you see someone who is like a parent or a friend or someone that you know, or even somebody, maybe a celebrity, you have to ask, what do they represent to you? And so my mother represented me as the mother. So I remember feeling in the dream that I couldn't take the trip with Soul to San Francisco because of my responsibilities as a mother, that it was burying me. Well, that dream, of course, woke me up as going, whoa, this is crazy. So I sat down in meditation. And in the meditation, I got all of these answers. And then I was told, make room for your life, just like Cheryl Richardson had said in that class that I took. So I went and I wrote down the 5 things that were really, really important to me at that time. And what was so interesting is that my counseling business was not on that top 5 thing. It was that top 5 list. It was not on there. And I thought, how interesting. This is where I'm spending so much time and energy, and yet it's not one of my passions right now. So I had to look at it and I thought, gosh, I have a lease agreement. There is no way that I can get out of this. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to call the girl who I'm leasing from and just ask if there's a possibility of getting out of this lease. So I called her and she said, oh, you're not going to believe this. Somebody just called today asking if I had space to sublet. You can get out of your lease today. I was like, holy cow. So my soul was telling me, I was saying yes to it. And all of a sudden there was this room, right? There was this space. Well, I was in shock. So now I had days that were open to me to make room for other things. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I'm being called to do? And I wasn't even sure. I had my schedule so booked that I wasn't even sure what that looked like. So what was interesting is everything settled down, and for about 2 weeks, I just kind of went about my thing, doing my days, meditating and being with myself. Well, one day I sat down and during this time, this 2-week period, I was reading this book called Love Without Conditions by Paul Ferrini, beautiful book. So I'm reading this book and I go to sit down and meditate one day. Well, little Terri, the little girl inside of me, shows up. And I know some of you have heard this. Well, as she revealed herself to me, I started crying. I was just like, ah! And then I hear in my ear, get up and write this. This is the beginning of your book. Well, I listened to the guidance, went straight to my computer, which was about 10 feet away from me, and began writing my first book, Message Sent, which was really my journal. So I had always had this, not always had this feeling. I'd been told actually by an intuitive years prior that I would write books and help people. I was like, yeah, what am I going to write about? You've got to be joking. Well, it was a seed that was planted, but I had never made room for it. Well, now all of a sudden I was making room and it was showing up. And it was so cool because now I had space to look at my life. And really what that book was paying attention to my outer world so that I could see how I was reacting and then go deep within to clean up the beliefs that were triggering me, that were causing me to react in anger, judgment, and blame. So it was this amazing gift of not only being able to write something that would help others, but to be able to move deeper into alignment with myself and my passions and really bringing a conversation of healing to myself, to my family, and to others. So this is what happened for me to make room for my purpose to be revealed, because I really didn't know what it was. I knew that I loved helping people. I knew I loved spiritual coaching and counseling, but I didn't know how it was going to be revealed to take it even any further. Well, by making room for myself and to make room for it to bubble up to the surface, I allowed it to, because I made room. I mean, how often do we think, well, one of these days I'll get to this, one of these days I'll get to that. And then we don't, because we stay so busy. Now, here's the deal. We stay busy because we haven't owned our worth. If we were living in a state of trust, because when you own your worth, you live in a state of trust. And when you live in a state of trust, you'll make those decisions to make changes. So this is why we do the work we're doing here of owning our worth, of really raising our worthiness quotient so that we move into alignment with the way we were created. And then in that high vibration, we open up to receive miracles, like I did that day when the woman who I leased from said, yeah, you can get out of your lease today. I mean, a miracle showed up because that was the vibration that I was holding, that yes, I can have this. So it's really important that we do the inner work, we do the inner healing to look at, why am I not owning my worth, so that we can follow our passions and move in a state of trust. And let me tell you, there are times when it's really scary to make those movements, to take those steps of action. But what I know for sure in my heart is when you take the baby steps, the little bitty baby steps, and you start acting upon those, then it's easier to take the bigger steps to really listen to your heart. I am so grateful that I listened to my heart that day, because one, I never knew that I could write books, and I've written several now. That one, and the Enlightened Mom, and my Women Leaders of Love ebook, and I have another ebook called Spice It Up with Your Spouse, and about creating passion and intimacy in spite of having kids around, right? So I have these things that I've written that I never really trusted that I could, but when I've listened to the guidance, it's like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. So what I know for sure is that there's something inside of you too. There's something inside of you that is craving to be revealed, that is saying, are you going to make room for me? Are you going to say yes to me? And I know many of you have full-time jobs, you have kids at home, but when you make that decision and to say yes, support shows up because you're supporting yourself. You may not know how it's going to show up. I remember I was teaching in a Enlightened Mom workshop years ago. It was my first one I ever taught. And one of the mothers, it was a live class. I was living in Destin, Florida, and one of the moms had little kids. Well, one of her kids got sick, and she was so bummed because she was already having amazing shifts. I think we were in the second or third week of the class. I can't remember. And she sat in her bedroom and said, I really don't know how to get to this class, but I want to go. And all of a sudden, her husband walks in and says, hey, if you want to go to the class, I know how much it's benefiting you. I'll take care of their son. She was blown away. He had never offered that kind of support before, to really step up and to be there for her so she could do something. She'd been the one who was doing it for her family all the time, right? So when you say yes to supporting yourself this way, by making an opening and creating an opening, by saying, I'm going to clear this out, I'm going to clear this out, I'm going to really say yes to these things, you never know what's going to show up. But from what I've seen over 20 years of coaching people, miracles tend to happen. Miracles tend to happen when you say yes to you and you make room for yourself. So what I'm excited about doing today is I want us to take a few moments to do an exercise. And I had invited you, if you didn't hear me at the beginning, if you have a pen and paper that you can grab really fast, just take a moment and get it. Because I want to just see if, we can help you get some clarity on the things that you're ready to say yes to. And if for some reason you can't get clarity on them today, then I want to invite you to spend time with them over the next week and really pay attention to, what can I say yes to and what am I ready to say no to? And you may be thinking, well, I've already done this before. I did this a couple of years ago. Oh, well, it changes. It changes dramatically. I actually guest hosted a woman's podcast yesterday because it was the end of her for doing it for 2 years. I'd been a guest on it, and she came back and said, will you help me do my closing show and interview me so that I can just tell everybody goodbye? And so it was a change for her. She was following her new passions, or where she wanted to go deeper in passions that already existed. So she was making room. So I think that's what triggered me for this conversation today, is that I wanted to bring this to the forefront, because we do change and our passions do change. Like, I'm watching my daughter Mackenzie right now. She has a restaurant coffee house with her husband and a friend, but she also has a 2-year-old toddler. And so she's been so diligent in working full time and getting this business off of the ground. But now she's at a place where she says, I want to pull back a little. I want to work from home because I really want to be with my baby. And that's her passion, right? Of course, it's her passion, and that's okay. But it's so cool to see her do that, that she doesn't have to be hands-on. She's built a team around her that she can trust, and she knows that she can jump up there whenever she needs to, but that her passion right now is to do it differently, to be able to be home more. And it's like, wow, that's so cool, right? For a young mom to be able to do that. So hopefully you've gotten your pen and paper by now. And I want to take a moment. What we're going to do is we're just going to get grounded. We're going to give ourselves permission to get centered, to release all the energy around us, and to really tap into our souls and that truth inside of us. Then I'm going to ask you to just go through a process. I'm going to take you through a process of looking at what's most important to you right now. And then we'll go from there. Okay. So if you're ready, let's do this. So I'm going to invite you to just take a breath through your nose. Hold it and release. Take another deep breath. Hold it and release. I want to invite you right now to visualize opening up the crown of your head. We're going to take a moment and get grounded in God's light, the light of love, the light of joy, the light of abundance. And I want to invite you to just visualize your crown opening up like a camera lens and saying, yes, I give myself permission to receive this healing light. And let that energy flood into the crown of your head, through your face, really settling into your jaw. And now your neck. Breathing into this. Moving that light into your shoulders. Releasing all the tension. And now sending that light down your arms and out your hands, the palms of your hands and your fingertips. Breathing very slowly, relaxing. And now bringing that light from your shoulders into your chest. And as you sit here, just say to yourself, I give myself permission to love myself and tap into my passions. Bringing that light now down into your rib cage and saying to yourself, I give myself permission to stand in my truth with my passions. And then bringing that light on down all the way into your hips. Now moving down your legs, your knees, all the way down into your ankles and your feet, visualizing the balls of your feet opening up, letting anything that says no to passion, no to living full out and being joyful and being on fire, let all that energy start moving out. And now visualizing that you're so full of this light that it is spewing out of the top of your head and it is moving into your aura, that energy field around you, and checking in with your aura to make sure it's extended out beyond your arms. If you were to extend them out in front of you, on either side of you and behind you. So you are sitting in this huge egg of energy. Allow that energy to be cleared on the inside of your aura and on the outside. And then visualize at the bottom of your aura is this beautiful column. It's a column of light, and we're going to visualize all the darkness that's been dumping down, moving out from under your feet and going down that column of light so that it goes back to the center of the earth and is transmuted into light. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now, I want to invite you right now to visualize a rose. And we're going to take that rose and imagine that the head of it is like a vacuum cleaner, and you're going to put it at the front of your forehead and the back. We're going to really open up to your knowingness right here. So imagine any stuck energy that is right here being pulled out. So we can get into your knowingness. And as you do this, you can say, I give myself permission to know my passions, to know my truth. And you might feel a release coming through here, and just say yes to it. Just say yes. And as you get it cleared, you can take those roses, send them out into the universe, blow them up like confetti, sending them back with love. And now let's put a beautiful indigo light, kind of purplish blue, in this sixth chakra, your third eye. Breathing into this. It's really good. Allowing yourself to go deeper, relaxing. And so I want to have you imagine, and you may see it, you may have a knowingness, you may hear words, whatever way works for you. I always speak in terms of visuals, but I want you to imagine that there is a book in front of you. It's like a photo album. And on the front of it, it says, My Passions. Now, I want you to imagine that you're picking it up first and just put your arms around it like you're giving it some love. And say to yourself, I give myself permission to see my truth right now. And then I want to invite you to just put the book back down on the table in front of you. And I want you to know that this book has things in it that you're passionate about, but it's also things that maybe it could be things you're not aware of. It could be things that you think, well, I don't necessarily enjoy doing them. Like maybe you're worn out as being a mother or a caretaker or in your work, but you're thinking, I want to do this right now, but I want to make room for other things too, but I've got to keep this on my list. So that's okay too. So this is about letting your soul speak to you of where you're going to put your energies right now. Okay, where you're going to put your energy. But specifically, we want to bring forth passions. And again, they can be things that you haven't done. Maybe you wanted to take a dance class and you put it to the side and you find that dance class is on here. And I want you to make note of that. And so where you're going to use your pen and paper, if you have one, is that each one that you get, you're going to write it down. So I want to invite you right now to just put your hands on that book. Even if you can't see it, just pretend. And now imagine that you're opening up to the first passion or to the first thing that is really important to you right now in your life that you want to keep on your list. So open up and see what that is. If you find yourself being dark, you can visualize opening up your crown again, which puts you in a state of surrender. You can even visualize a rose sucking all the darkness out and then sending it out and blowing it up like confetti. Or you can just simply say, I rebuke the darkness. I rebuke the darkness. So what is that first thing that comes up on your list? Take a moment and write it down. And you can just write a couple of words. You don't have to write a whole bunch of things, just something that will trigger your memory. Okay, so now we come back to the book and you see that page that you just saw. And now you're going to turn the page as if you're going to the next page of a photo album. And you're going to see what is the second thing that is really important to you right now that you feel so on fire about. Breathe into this. If you hear something that it says, love yourself more, which is very generic, then I want to invite you to say, you know, show me another picture. And you can even imagine lifting that picture up as if there's another picture underneath it. And you can visualize, picking it up so you can see underneath it. What specifically are you being asked to say yes to? And then when you get an answer, write that one down. That's number 2. And they're not in specific order. This is just what we're doing to get our top 5. Okay, so let's go to number 3. Going back to the photo album, and we're going to turn the page. What is the next picture you see? You might see a word, you might see a person, or you could see anything, or you might just have a feeling. So what is the next thing that is your number 3? If you find yourself, also I want to point this out, if you find yourself saying, well, I can't do this, or I'm there's no way, kind of like I did when I said, well, there's no way I can get out of my lace, I want you to forget that. Okay, so just what is being called for you to do? What is number 3? And when you get ready, you can write that one down. And let's go to number 4. So go back to the album, the photo album, turn the page, and see what number 4 is. Again, if you find yourself getting stuck, breathe. If you find yourself having a lot of questions and doubts, just say, I acknowledge you, that you're there. What is it that I want in my soul? What am I being called to say yes to? When you're ready, you can write that one down. And now let's go to number 5. Turn the page on that book. What do you see? What do you see on number 5? And then when you're ready, write that one down. Okay, so now I want to invite you to look at your list. and take it in for a minute and recognize what's not on your list. For me, when I did this, it was that I didn't want to be a counselor anymore at that time. I didn't want to be a spiritual counselor. I didn't want to have an office. It wasn't on my list. So, what's not on your list? Take note of that, okay? So maybe there are several things that are taking up a lot of time in your life, and you realize, wow, I'm spending too much time doing this. This is not what I want to do anymore. I used to have a radio show and I had it for a couple of years, and all of a sudden I got this cosmic 2x4 that's like, it's time to be done. You've got to make room for other things because it took up a lot of time. Kind of like the woman I was hosting her show yesterday to be a guest host to help her end it. It's what is taking your time that's on this list that it's time to be done with. This is very exciting. And I know it can be scary. Okay. I know it can be scary to release something. But wow, when you choose to release it, you move out of poverty consciousness and you step into prosperity consciousness as you say yes to these other things. So, what I want you to recognize right now is those things that you're ready to release. So, I want to invite you to go back into that space where you close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that whatever the things are, maybe there's one, two, three, maybe there's a ton of things, who knows? But I want you to imagine that they're out in front of you. And I want you to imagine that there's a cord that comes from you to these things where you've been holding on. And we're going to clean out that energy right now. So I want you to imagine that whatever you're holding on to, there can be a cord going to that over here. There can be a cord going over here to something else. And I want you to imagine now that a white light, beautiful white light from God is coming down, and it's literally acting like a laser, and it's clearing these cords. It's clearing all the energy. It's bringing it up into present time. And as it's finishing up the clearing, you can imagine taking the cords out of your body. You can just say, okay, I'm going to pull this one out, pull this one out. Maybe they're all coming from the same place. Maybe they're coming from different places. And then you just say, I release you to the universe. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for bringing me to this point where I know it's time to love myself deeper. It's time for me to own my worth deeper because I'm saying yes to these callings of my soul. And so send those cords back to these things and send everything out into the universe. Send it up into a white light and just say thank you one more time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, I want you to imagine these 5 things that are on your list. I want you to imagine that you are doing them with joy. I want you to feel the feeling inside of your body of going, oh my gosh, I'm following my passions. Oh, yes, I've said yes to me. I've said yes to my worthiness. I've said yes to being truly a woman leader of love. And for you men who are watching, a man leader of love. Or simply a leader of love, and just feel that energy coming into your body. And what does that feel like to you as you say yes to these 5 things on your list, knowing that you've cleared the space, you've gotten rid of these other things, and you've said yes to this? I want you to feel that in your soul. I want you to feel it just in your beingness. Feel it all the way down to your toes, to your fingertips, to the top of your head. Feel that energy pouring into your aura on the inside and the outside. It's your new filter. And it's not only going all the way around you, but it's all the way going down into your grounding to the center of the earth. So you are fully grounded in this energy of saying, yes, I've owned my worth. I am a leader of love. And I'm saying yes to my passions. I've cleared out the muck. I'm standing in my truth. Woohoo! Yay! And so when you're ready and you're feeling that feeling, just turn it up a little bit more. And then when you're ready, you can come back into this space. Ooh, I hope that felt really good for you guys. It's so enlightening when you do this. I mean, literally, when I had that dream that I was sharing about earlier about being at the, the little community center and being invited to go with Soul to San Francisco, and then saw how I was being bogged down, when I said, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm so buried in my responsibilities, which interestingly, so much of my work now is being a parent, being a wife, being, just in family. I mean, my actual company name is Enlightened Family Institute. So to see how that mother energy was my guidance to say, you are really separated from your soul because of all of your responsibilities, was so cool. And to say, I'm listening and I'm going to take the steps to follow this, and then to see where my life has come to, what it's come to, and the joy and the peace I feel, and really bringing this message out for women leaders of love, because we are the pioneers of change for our families and the world. And so you guys are doing that too. So as you take a stand for these things that you've written on your list today, then you become that change. You, as you stand in your worth and your truth, you become that change for the people you love to do the same. And there's no greater act of service that you can do for them. It is your greatest act of service. So let's open up to some questions. Now, for those of you who are on Facebook and Instagram, you're on a different camera, Instagram friends, that's why you see me looking up and down, and then LinkedIn and Twitter, you can't ask questions that you can, and I will try to get back to them later. But for this cast, the simulcast, those who are on my Zoom call right here that are on the screen with me, you can't see it on Instagram. They are the ones who actually open up and I take their questions. So if you want to be on this call and get the Zoom link every week, you want to grab my Worthiness Quotient Breakthrough Bundle. It's totally free. And you just go to terribritt.com/leaders, and then you'll get the link next week. And we do this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So who wants to ask a question that's on the Zoom call? So if you want to ask a question, remember to raise your hand. And let me see if anybody has raised their hand. Now, I know sometimes we have technical difficulties, especially since we're in Mercury retrograde. And so if you want to raise your hand, you go to the bottom and it says reactions. You click on it, you'll see raise your hand, and you click that, and so I can see your hand. And then until we do, I am going to call on someone to, like I did last week, and see, just to share for a minute. So Jorn, my little friend from Norway, I want to invite you to unmic yourself or unmute yourself. I don't mean unmic yourself, unmute yourself. Hey, I can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, no,
There.
you can hear me. Yes. Hi.
So I just wanted to see how that felt for you, that exercise.
Yeah, actually, it felt really good and interesting. I'm a little bit tired today, so I was a little bit dizzy every now and then. But
That's okay. Did you learn anything about yourself that you're willing to share with us that maybe you weren't aware of, or maybe you were aware of it, but you hadn't made it part of your top 5 list?
yes, I was thinking a lot about my work actually, and well, I have, maybe it's not a new knowledge. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I'm more like, I think it's a good thought to what you said, taking baby steps in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I live, I don't have a husband now, and I'm quite dependent on my income from my regular work. So I feel it's a good thing to take baby steps, but trying to push myself to do these steps in a way, so
Right,
that it's so that I don't forget it in this busy
right.
days in a way.
So what's really cool here, and this is such a great conversation to have, is you recognize that you want to make some changes in your work, but it is how you pay your bills, and you are a single woman. So I get it. So one of the things that you can start doing is start visualizing what it is that you want it to look like, what you want your life to look like. Do you know what that work is that you want to do? Do you know what that is that you want to change to, or do you just know that you would like to change it, but you're not sure what that is?
Yes, I know that it's something that I want to create for myself, where I am the leader of the work in a way, where I can have my
Right.
little company, and I don't need to follow what all the other ones need to
Everyone
do
else
all the
is.
time.
You
Yes,
want to
in a
be the
way.
boss.
Yeah.
So
Not always working for all the other people's dream in a way, with my
oh
own.
my gosh, is that so right on? That is
Yeah.
so right on. Always working for everyone else's dreams. So here's a cool thing that you can start doing. So if you were to put a feeling to that, that you have already created your work, you don't know how it's going to happen. Okay, you don't have to know the how. You just have to know that, oh, this is what's in my heart right now. And even for those of you who don't know what's in your heart, you just know that there's something different. What would that feeling be? So what would that be for you, Jorn?
Yeah. Mm, I think joy is an important word here, because and creativity and the
Mm,
feeling of creating something for me and
okay.
my children. And, yeah.
Right. Right. I know for me, when I feel that, the creativity is like my every cell of my body's turned up like, wow, let's go on an adventure,
Yeah.
So that would be my feeling. But so what I would say to you is, again, you don't have to know the how. It's what is it that I want to experience? Okay. We get
Mm.
caught up a lot of times in what that final picture is, when the final picture can be something so much better than what we even imagine. So
Mm.
so if you were to put those feelings of creativity and joy, and you started feeling them. So what I do is I would go into the space of, oh my gosh, thank you. This feels so good. I'm so excited that I am doing. And you really want to go with the I am. I am so grateful, which is a great way to start. I am so grateful and I am so excited that I am living my dream life. I
Mm.
love my work. I
Yeah.
love that I provide for myself and I can give freely and I receive freely. You see what I'm saying? And as you're going into
Yeah.
feeling,
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're starting to match that, and you're starting to rewire your brain. So it's
Mm.
important, because we always get caught up in how is that ever going
Yeah.
to happen? And because we don't have the answers, we shut ourselves down, or we may shut ourselves down because of other beliefs. But if we can just start going into the feeling and say, yes to it, and feeling it and really giving thanks for it. So when you go into gratitude, you're actually going into, what you're actually saying is, I have faith that I am
Yeah.
enough for this to show up, and that it's already done. So those are some really key things for you to do.
Mm.
So I would start holding that every single day when you're
Mm.
meditating. For me, I like to meditate, get grounded in God's light. That's another freebie, that if everybody doesn't have that meditation, you can just go to terribritt.com/grounding and get grounding in God's light. And that'll put you also in the Zoom thing if you want to get the Zoom link. But it's a great meditation to do daily, so that you can get fully in this space of connectedness, and then start visualizing, because now
Mm.
you're in this high vibration, you're very receptive, and now you're visualizing and you're putting it out into the universe that I'm ready to receive this. And sometimes when you're doing that, what's so cool is all of a sudden you'll get a hit. You'll get a hit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm being guided to go do this. So make sure that, write it down or whatever you need to do, and then go take action with it. Don't put it off. I can't tell you how many times I put something off, and then I get a cosmic 2x4 saying, are you going to do this or not? You've been getting guidance for this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
because I think I use a lot of energy to find out trying to find out what and how, and I think that was a good thing, to drop that a little bit and put it as aside, or yeah.
put it aside, and
Yeah.
just right now, just say, if you get a hit to talk to somebody, ask some
Mm.
questions, because then you get answers, right? I have a tendency, because one of my MOs was always feeling like I was alone. So I always felt like I had to figure it out by myself. So when you do that, you really shut yourself down to receiving. So when I have those moments, that's when I'm reminded to look at little Terri and say, you're not alone. I'm right here with you. And we've got the beautiful universe to support us. We've got our guides to support us. So I have that conversation with her to make her feel connected and loved and heard. And then I do my processes and see what shows up. So very cool. So I can't wait to see what happens for you on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay, Yara, and I'm so glad you're here. It's good to see you here. Are you good?
Thank
Do you have
you.
questions?
Yes, I'm very good today.
Okay.
It's a great day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here. So I want to ask you to mute yourself, if you will. Does anyone else have a question? Or I'm going to call on someone. I'm going to listen to my intuition, because people often, did you mute yourself, Jorn? Yes, you did. I see it. So does anybody else want to ask a question again? You can raise your hand. I'm not seeing where anyone has raised their hand. This is what I did last week. They're waiting to see who is she going to call on. Okay, let's see who's on here and see what pops up. Who is Holly? Holly, you want to unmute yourself and jump on here with us? I feel called to talk to you today. Is she here? Holly? If you unmute yourself, there's a microphone at the bottom of your screen and you can click it and it'll take that. There she is. Hey, Holly.
Hey.
Hey, I'm calling on
Surprise.
you. Okay.
I didn't prepare for this.
Oh no, did you do the exercise?
Sort of. I'm listening, but I wasn't maybe.
That's okay. So what I want to invite you to do, you can always listen to the recording, and because you will get the replay recording. You don't worry about the way you look. Don't worry about.
I know. I'm just like, God. I've got the shades drawn because the sun's shining so bright. So
that's okay. So I want to ask you, when you think about the things that your soul saying yes to, just even if you didn't do the exercise, because I get it, we're busy. Is there something in your life that you're ready to say, I can move this to the side for right now?
Well, I've really been working on for several years now, my health issues.
Okay.
I feel that is what has been holding me back.
Oh, interesting.
I realize I've been spending so much time focused on this health. Have not really looked at what's beyond that, or what I hope to be beyond that. And I'm beginning to think that my focus on my health problems is just perpetuating my health problems. And in seeking, doctors to try to help me.
So let me ask you this, Holly, because I understand that. I have had major health issues in the past. So instead of focusing on how the health is affecting you negatively, I mean, if it's something very debilitating, you have to do that part of it. But have you also looked at what is it trying to show me about myself? Because we have to think of our bodies as it's really the densest part of our soul. So it speaks to us, right? I know when I got Chiari, which is the brainstem, and I kept getting flattened. Well, it lit up all my pictures about keeping up with the Joneses. I have to work and keep up with everybody because I couldn't do anything. I'd sit at my computer and cry. So as I kept going deep within and looking at it and saying, what is this trying to show me? What is this, what do I need to love inside of myself? It actually became this gift to the point where I could heal very miraculously. Had some, you've probably heard the stories, but so have you asked that question?
Yes, because as a friend pointed out to me, sometimes it's not happening to me, but it's happening for me.
Yes.
Yes, and it's very difficult to really wrap my head around at first.
So let me ask you this: do you mind sharing what kind of health issue you're having?
Well, back in 2000. I lived in Florida. I've since moved back to Connecticut, which is where I grew up. I moved to Florida for about 10 years. And what my integrative doctor feels is, yes, I've had several mold exposures. I lived in a mobile home with black mold, not realizing, in my air conditioning system. And I was there for probably 3 years, and I started getting allergy symptoms.
Yeah.
Originally. And then all of a sudden the lights seemed very bright. The sun was very bright. I moved back to Connecticut, and it's like my whole nervous system just went, haywire. And I came into chemical sensitivities, and I've since worked on a few things that, of course, have helped to calm down my nervous system. But in this process of trying to heal myself, and in listening to a lot of the podcasts and summits, and learning about, basically my past, and how my inner child,
Right.
and never even ever being aware of an inner child till, gosh, just, 5 years ago, really.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a journey of actually learning about myself. I grew up with an alcoholic father and a codependent mother.
Mhm.
And of course, that was a time too when women stayed home and work. So not having finances also put her in, a certain position too. And that was all very acceptable. And I'm not blaming anybody. I always loved my mother dearly. Actually, I felt bad for her that she was in this situation as a child. And what I saw was, as much as I love my mother, this is not the way I want to end up. And just to share with you that her sister also had 3 children, and I have an older half sister and a younger sister. And 5 girls between my mother and my mother's sister, and actually 6 children. Only one had 1 child. Nobody wanted to have any children. This was not, any of our dreams of, and what was relayed to us, I think, in our situation growing up was children they weren't so much a joy. And so this was not the environment, I was taken care of, and, we got medical help and nurturing, well, but I kind of realized my mother she didn't take care of herself, really. She didn't prioritize. And in listening to you, I realized that even my mother didn't prioritize herself. And this whole codependency. My younger sister, she ended up, I think, even worse than myself. So it's been, I've made actually a lot of progress in that respect. But again, it's putting myself out there. Okay.
May I share with you what I see?
Okay.
So I see this, I'm an intuitive. And so I see this dark cloud of energy around your head. And what it tells me is that you're in your thinking mind so much. And to really integrate and move into getting this stuff out of your body, you want to move into your body. Okay. You want to bring the light into your body, and you want to bring the light into your mind. So what are you doing that really brings you joy? Because I don't know if you enjoy being outside, if you enjoy taking walks out in nature, because that feels really strongly to me that's something that you need to be doing all the time. Like getting out there and just clearing your mind. But I mean, you may already take walks, but go take walks, not in a thinking mode, but in a receptive mode. And that's the difference is when you're in a thinking mode, you're walking and you're just constantly thinking about stuff. A receptive mode is you're walking and you're being present. You're looking at the trees, you're looking at the leaves around you, and you are connecting to the beauty and just being so present in the joy that is around you. It is a phenomenal way to really start bringing joy into your being, into your body. Does that resonate for you at all?
Yes, very much so. I do get out. I walk at least once a day.
Good.
There's a park.
But what are you doing? Are you thinking?
That's just it. I usually am. I do stop and talk to the trees now and then. You know,
Yeah.
and even as a child, I used to play alone in the woods. I always, you know, so
Well, then that's the perfect thing then, Holly, because if it's something you did as a child that was very, connecting and nurturing to you, then that's probably why I'm seeing that right now, because it's going back to the things that made you feel joyful. Maybe, I mean, and you may have not felt the joy as a kid. I don't know how you felt as a child, but what I'm just really strongly getting is don't be in your head when you're doing it.
I've always been in my head.
Yeah. And
even as a child, the only emotion I think I expressed as a child was my crying, my sadness, my fear. What I realized was fear. You know,
yeah. And so we have a hard time expressing joy if we can't express all the emotions, right? So you've got happiness and sadness, and you've got anger and passion. Those are the two sides of the coin, or at least that's the way I see it. So you want to be able to experience all of those things. So I want to invite you, if you're doing walks already, yay, that's awesome. Okay. But I want to invite you with your walk to go out and to say, I'm going to look and to be so present. I'm just going to start saying thank you. And by just being in that gratitude space and looking at the leaves, looking at the colors, because you're probably getting a lot of color that's happening or starting to happen.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, it's a perfect time, right? In Connecticut, and we're starting to see a little bit here in Georgia, but I bet you're seeing a lot more up there. So just really take it in, almost like that little kid. And you can visualize little Holly walking with you. You can visualize, and that's a great way to do it. And to help her get into the joy and the wonder of it, right? It's almost like seeing through the eyes of a child, and really communicating with her, like, what do you want to look at? What do you want to see? And then just being present with it. And also too, when you're starting, opening up your crown. Remember how we started today? We talked about opening up our crown. So allowing yourself, because this is where your higher self is. So when your mind is in that holding on space, we get in contraction mode. We shut down our crown chakra. We cut ourselves off from our higher selves and really connecting to the universe. Yeah. So I want to invite you to do a couple of things. Start your walk with just taking a moment to get grounded, opening up your crown, calling your little inner child, and make your walk an adventure to joy. Say, I'm on my adventure to joy today. And
that sounds good.
Yeah, doesn't that sound fun?
Yes. Yeah.
I do that. And I remember the first day, because I see a lot of, our mountain is called Yona, which is, it means bear in, I think, Cherokee. And so there's a lot of Indian energy here in this area. So one day I was walking, and all of a sudden I just tapped in, and I see all these beautiful Indian spirits lining the road. And then I had this wolf spirit come up and walk next to me and started getting messages from it. I know that sounds crazy if you're not open to that kind of thing, but it brought me.
That's amazing. I
beautiful, right?
Yes. I wish I could connect.
You can. So that's the thing here, is instead of saying I wish I could connect, I'm so grateful that I am connecting. So when you're saying I wish, you're putting it out there that you can't. Everybody can connect. If you will do these tools like I'm sharing with you, opening up your crown, going into gratitude. You can even get grounded first, like we did, like the grounding meditation that I suggested. You can get it at terribritt.com/grounding, totally free. And you can do that first and then go take your walk if you want to. And so now you're in that receptive state, you're connected, and you take that walk with your inner child, and then over time, as you zero in, you'll maybe see that there's someone walking with you. And that's beautiful, and you're not alone. It's so miraculous when you give yourself permission to be that present. So I want to invite you to do that, and think of it as you're walking on your path to joy, or walking in joy. But joy also helps you heal your physical being. Okay. I don't know what the spiritual symbolism is of black mold. You might want to look it up, but I would guess, if I were to just interpret it from an intuitive place, you think about mold as old, stuck. So to me, the black mold would be the darkness that is hindering your thoughts, the mold, the old patterns, the old thoughts. So doing this kind of exercise will bring you into a new thought pattern. Okay.
Yes, that's okay. That makes sense completely. Yes. And this is what I've also said to my sisters. It's just really hard changing me. I haven't been happy all my life being me. Again, with the lack of joy and whatnot. But I also realize that, like it's the way you perceive, or the way I perceived things to be. My older sister didn't end up the same way. She's the glass half full. So
Right.
I'm doing better, believe it or not. And I do realize, and what I do believe, I truly do believe at this point that, I've worked on so much with my diet and all these physical things. I really do believe that you can heal, the body can heal, and that the mind can help. You really need the mind to help you to do that. It is.
Well, I mean, Dr. Bruce Lipton says, in his book, Biology of Beliefs, that 95% of illness is based in stress and your beliefs. So that's why it's so important that we do the inner work, that we go in and we clean up the subconscious mind. I don't know. I know you've done some work, and I'm going to suggest this right now for you. I don't know if you've checked out my Worthiness Quotient program, which is all about really owning your worth. So you feel joyful, so you feel connected, so you connect to your guides. I mean, it's 18 meditations where we go in. I really want to invite you to go look at that, because people that have been taking the course have said it's life-changing, and how much more joy they're finding. And it does involve the inner child, but it involves a lot. You're going to learn so many tools. So just check it out. It's terribritt.com/worthy. And
Okay.
if you decide to do it, if you put in the coupon code box, because it's if you put in crown, because it's called the Worthiness Quotient, claim your crown, lead a life you love. If you put in crown, you'll save like $50. It's not expensive. It's very inexpensive course. So it just knocks off some of the price for you. So it's just crown. But I want to encourage you to go look at that, and anybody else who says, I want more joy, because I tell you, the tools and the clearing that we do in it is what changed my life. It's literally a culmination of almost 25 years of studying energy, that I have used these tools daily to really find a deeper connection to myself, a deeper connection to God, to my guides, to my inner child, and to joy, and to passion, all those good things. So
Yes. I also realized, and I've felt this, that, and I don't know if the mold has, I don't know. I just feel like my brain is not, because I have this chemical sensitivity to lights and whatnot, that there's something overstimulated in my brain sometimes when I eat or I take certain supplements. So,
detox?
Pardon me?
Have you done a detox?
I have tried, but to get in, sometimes, I don't have a sauna, but sometimes to do one like an herbal type of thing or anything, I can't even get my body. The first thing is you want to open up your pathways. So as you detox, everything is going out. Well, that's, I'm kind of stuck there at the first step. I just have tried things. But anyways, I just wanted to say that I feel it's, again, a lot of it has to do with my brain and my thinking. And if I can get, I think that's another layer. If getting that issue, maybe working a little better, that would be another layer of wellness, I think. To help me.
Well, I think the worthiness program would be really good for you. So check that out. And then if you, for some reason, feel like you can't, then I really want to invite you to get the grounding meditation. It's totally free, because that in itself, when we run energy, because that whole meditation is, I think it's like 28 minutes of just running energy through your body, and you're listening to my words, where it takes you deep into your heart space in your body, into shifting the cells, the vibration of the cells. Because when you get into a receptive space and you're creating that connection, you're actually shifting not only the wiring of your brain, you're rewiring your brain to go from the amygdala, which is your fight or flight, where you're always in thinking mode, into the prefrontal cortex, which is more of your peaceful state. So I had a woman reach out to me a couple of years ago, and I didn't know her, and she said, I just listened to, there's a whole CD, but this one particular meditation. And she said, I just listened to this. She was crying. She goes, I have been so stressed out for 2 years, and this is the first time I found peace. So grab that if you don't do anything else. Okay. Because
I know, I do believe in the somatic, in the body experience.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there's, again, and when I do cry, when I do listen to certain meditations and go along, I do feel better. I do feel like there's a more of a lightness.
Yeah.
It lifts the heaviness. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do believe it's body. My older sister shared with me that I didn't know, but when I was less than a year old, apparently my father was tossing me up in the air, and I was laughing and he's catching me, and well, he didn't catch me. Apparently I slammed my head. And she said, my older sister's 5 years older. She says, I vividly remember mom and dad running in and out, and you were bleeding a lot, and they didn't know what to do. And I have a deep scar between my eyes on my nose. Now, I didn't think anything of this until I kind of got into more of this research and connecting. And I realized that, maybe that this trauma that I don't remember, it must have been a severe trauma. There must have been brain inflammation, no doubt. And that's why I say the somatic part, perhaps I've carried this even since I was very young.
Well, what can happen is you can make decisions even in the womb, without really making it, it's a belief that gets wired into your brain. So what I would do if I were you, being that you do some inner child work, is I would go into a meditation and just get yourself kind of quiet, or you can do it when you're walking and visualize your 5-year-old inner child, even though it didn't happen at that point, but she can be the voice of your woundedness or your joy. She can be either one. And you can ask, what is the decision that was made in that moment that I fell on my face? Because when we have a trauma like that, we can make a decision that the world is scary, or that I have to, that everything is dark. It could be anything, it could be anything. So when you get to that belief, because, we make decisions very early on, and that becomes the filter for our life. So you might have, you said you're the pessimist more than your sister, who's the optimist. Maybe it was in that moment that you made a decision that the world is dark, the world is scary, something bad's going to happen, because something bad did happen. And what if in that moment, what if underneath that, you are actually an optimist, but because of that moment, you disconnected from that. So this is why we do the inner work. This is why we go in and we look at the beliefs and say, what is it that I took on, and see how it's affecting my life. And then we clear it out. And then we say, what is my truth? And when you start calling back your truth, then you can really make the changes. So I think you've got something really powerful there. And I would take you through the meditation, but we're already way past time.
Okay.
But I encourage you to do a meditation, get that grounding meditation if you want to, and then do it, and then go into it and say, what is the belief that I took on in that moment?
All right.
That may be your answer to all of this.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank
Well,
you. I'll try that.
to mute yourself, and thank you so much for jumping in. I know I called on you. I'm going to start doing this if people are sitting back and not raising their hands. That's what I did last week in the call. Was we had such good information that came through. So I want to just invite you guys to just take a moment and close your eyes and say thank you. Thank you for all of you showing up today, for holding the space, for taking a stand, for owning your worth. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to send some light and love to each of you. Thank you for being women leaders of love. Thank you for owning your worth, because you truly are making a difference for yourself and for the world. Because as we hold a vibration of love and worthiness, we open up to miracles. Our life becomes more peaceful, more balanced, and we become that example and the change we want for others. We move out of lack and we move into abundance. And that's what everyone is craving on the planet right now. So I want to say thank you to everyone for showing up. I send you so much love. Don't forget, every week right here, wherever you're watching from, whether it's one of the social media platforms or here on Zoom, it's 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and you will see replays pop up all over the place. And if you're in our mailing list, you'll get the link as well. So Alicia says, thank you. Oh, Yoren says the program is just fantastic. She did the Worthiness Quotient program. If you want to check that out, you can go to terribritt.com/worthy. And that's what I was just talking about too, Holly. Yes, Yoren's had quite a few shifts, and she's now doing some private coaching. So we're having a lot of fun seeing her make shifts. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Sending you so much love. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.